How would you assess the scale and precision of India's response?
The Indian strike, which is aerial strike, has not been on any infrastructure, civilian area, or military installations of Pakistan.
Was this a tactical or a strategic message to Pakistan?
This is where there is a big difference on a strategic, very specific, well thought out targets deep within Pakistan on a broader front.
How do you view this? How important and how crucial it is?
This is a very different time where if Pakistan retaliates in any which manner, militarily, politically, or diplomatically, I think all sides have been well taken care of.
As a beginning of some sort of a deadlock on the Western front, or do you see the end soon?
Business of warfare and warfare of business both are coming together, and they will only be too happy, content selling arms and ammunition to Pakistan, making rich either in dollars or in euros or in pounds or whatever.
For India's image as a regional power, if I may add.
I don't think so. Our neighbors would want India to become anywhere to be seen as a global power.
All right, so May 7th has definitely gone down in the history books with India launching attacks on Pakistan, not just within the territory of Pakistan, but also at several locations in POJK. And this is something that not just India and Pakistan, but the whole world is talking. Lots of perspectives coming out of that to discuss the matters further, to unravel what comes ahead of this particular attack that India has carried out. We are joined by Lt Gen PJS Pannu. He is PVSM, AVSM, BSM, and former Deputy Chief of Indian Integrated Defense Staff. Lt Gen Pannu, thank you so much for speaking to One India.
Thank you, Pankaj, for getting me over to your channel.
Right.
Yes, it has been a very trying day. Since morning, there has been an international curiosity of what is happening between two nations. So I'll be happy to discuss.
Right, indeed, sir. Let's quickly get into the conversation here. How would you assess the scale and precision of India's response to the dastardly Pahalgam attack on April 22nd? And was this a tactical or a strategic message to Pakistan?
Pankaj, at this scale, when right from the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir to opposite of Rajasthan, which is Pakistan, Punjab, it's a very large front, and I think the depth of the targets is also such that you certainly cannot call it tactical, it is strategic. However, the Indian strike, which is aerial strike, has not been on any infrastructure, civilian area, or military installations of Pakistan. The targets seem to have been chosen very carefully this time, only to hit the terror bases. And when you talk about the terror camps, earlier we were talking about the launch pads. If you go back to Balakot and post-Uri, the surgical strikes had actually happened on the launch pads, which were very shallow, which was very close to the line of control. But what has happened now is that India has specifically chosen the bases or the headquarters or the large training areas where the recruitment, motivation, equipping, finance, where the Pakistan Army, ISI, and the terrorists sit together with the leaders. They plan in a very strategic manner how to carry on the 1,000-cut proxy war against India, which has been going on over 3 decades. These are the camps which have been actually located in depth areas, sitting in very safe, secure, and protected areas by the Pakistan military. And these have been hit post-Pahalgam carnage of 22nd of April. Pakistan may not have realized, they must be thinking that India will only run around jungles and try to find the actual attackers within the soil of India. But ultimately what has happened is that they have fallen to the entire game of their own, where they were running a proxy war sitting from the safe havens and trying to create terror on the Indian soil. I think the terror has actually now been transferred onto their soil in their own terrorist bases. So this is where there is a big difference on a strategic, very specific, well thought out targets deep within Pakistan on a broader front.
Indeed, Lieutenant General. And also, when it comes to, the coordination of this operation across the Tri-Cities and intelligence agencies, given your experience in integrated defense planning, how do you view this? How important and how crucial it is?
Pankaj, first and foremost, whenever any planning happens, it happens at the highest level. And there are highest political level where the decisions are taken. And under the CCS, where the four ministries, the Home, Finance, Defense, and External Affairs, they sit together in the Prime Minister's presence. They talk about what needs to be done. And once the CCS takes a decision, then it is actually whole of nation which prepares to go to war. Whether they go to war as a whole of nation or not is another matter altogether. But what I see now is that the strikes have happened, but the preparations are being made all across in many states, all across where the entire nation is not only concerned but also participating in preparatory activities. So you find that this is a very different time where
Right.
if Pakistan retaliates in any which manner, militarily, politically, or diplomatically, I think all sides have been well taken care of. So India is
Right.
prepared also, but India has made a very specific announcement that after striking these targets, India said that we are not going to escalate. So therefore, any onus of further escalation completely lies on Pakistan. So now it is
Absolutely.
Pakistan's responsibility to ensure peace, because it is Pakistan which actually disturbed the peace. And now whatever had to happen has happened. And hereafter, it is responsibility of Pakistan to make sure that two nuclear armed states are at peace. If
Right.
Pakistan does not understand that, I think it will pay more.
Indeed, I mean it's a catch-22 situation, and as a saying goes in Hindi, "Bhais ke aage been bajana." How much Pakistan would be able to understand that India's precision strikes are only and only targeted at these terror camps, which Pakistan has been harboring for the longest period of time, and has been constantly called out. Also, Lieutenant General Pannu, there are two things to it, as you mentioned. First is whether Pakistan wants to make peace or not, maintain peace or not. And secondly, the longevity, the sustainability of this military posturing along the Western Front for India. Do you see this one-off retaliatory strike as till date as a beginning of some sort of a deadlock on the Western Front? Or do you see the end soon?
Pankaj, you would have realized that when Ukraine and Russia went to war, one thought that these are going to be intense wars and short wars. And in fact, people have been talking about that these days you can only have short, intense wars. The war staminas of countries were only built to last as long as 1 or 2 months, not more, and that too sometimes novel and sometimes intense.
Right.
But what has happened differently this time is that the Russian-Ukraine conflict doesn't come to an end. It's almost now stepping into the fourth year in the Israel conflict with Hamas, and look at the size of Hamas. It is actually gone to a place now. It is second year, third year. I don't know how long, because there is no peace in sight. In fact, the arc of violence in the Middle East has only increased. You see, the Iranians got into it. There were attacks and counterattacks, and the Syrians have been drawn into it. Lebanon got drawn into it. A lot of movement happened in the Mediterranean. The Houthis in Yemen have also been attacking. The shipping has been affected there. So One was expecting that the conventional policing nations like United States would come and step in. But I don't think so. Today, the United States has got anything left.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it is America first, and I think America alone. So when you are talking about America first and America alone, so I
Mm-hmm.
think they have stepped back from the global responsibility of peace.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they are more into deal making or making sure that they are supplying arms and ammunition, making
Right.
business and quick business out of it. So the
Right.
military industrial complexes of China, Russia, US, uh, the European countries have been doing a very quick business. So the business of warfare and warfare of business both are coming together, where the global policing role of the superpowers is no more relevant. The
Okay.
United Nations, which was basically created after Second World War to ensure that there is no Third World War, uh,
Mm-hmm.
you you saw it during COVID that the United Nations could not do much. In any case, the
For
P5
China.
nations have huge amount of disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
China, Russia, US, the major
Right.
aggressors to one another are the ones who are. How can the P5 be fighting and then you expect the United Nations to remain relevant to global peace?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So as a
Yes.
result, with the absence of institutions like UN or
Mm-hmm.
weakening of the institutions like UN and the superpowers stepping back into their own nation first approach, there is very little that would happen. If two nations go to war, they will have to fend for themselves. And I think Pakistan should
Mm-hmm.
not go back to thinking that, Americans will jump in to say, hey, stop it, or UN will come
Right.
and say, stop it,
I
or
was
somebody else.
actually absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Please carry on. Yeah.
So, responsibility now entirely lies on the leadership of Pakistan. And really speaking, when you say who are the leaders in Pakistan, really speaking, you can't name because you will put question marks on every uh, person
Right.
who is either uh, having a semblance of any leadership. Um, Nawaz Sharif was in power, and the same party is in power. Nawaz Sharif was in power during Kargil. He had no idea what the military was doing. And now his brother is in power and Sabah in the same party is in power and they will have no idea what the military is doing. A person who could check the military, Imran Khan, is put behind bars. So internally, Pakistan has become very weak economically. Military has to find its own relevance because the houses of the co-commanders were also attacked by the Awam of Pakistan. They have completely lost the credibility of the
Right.
military. The military is being ambushed. The
Mm-hmm.
trains and the convoys are being hijacked
Right.
in Baluchistan and northwest frontier province. Afghanistan finds Duran land to be absolutely irrelevant. And
Mm-hmm.
now the only way to get Pakistan uh, gets its strategic depth with Afghanistan being on its back for quite some time now. The only way to get Afghanistan off the back is to start saying, hey, this is holy war, this is Islamic war, and you are Islamic, so
Right.
you're our brothers. And
But that
secondly,
is.
get all the terrorists put together and
Mm,
support the army. And at the end of it, it is only one person who's going to benefit out of it is the Chief of Army Staff of Pakistan Army,
Pakistan. Yeah.
who would have actually retired and he would have
Mm-hmm.
had no because he would have brought his army to the lowest ebb ever. And how
Mm-hmm.
could he retire? Because people would have, in any case, targeted him. So he wants to secure it is one man's war, actually. It
Mm-hmm.
is the Chief of Army Staff of Pakistan who has been talking about two nation theory, the jugular vein of
Mm-hmm.
Pakistan is Kashmir. And he's been talking about things which have been very, very irrelevant in the past. And he's brought all that back. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
Bangladesh also now, partly into folds of Pakistan, they feel that the 1971 reverses could be rewritten. I think there's a larger belief that they have. So
Right.
therefore, I think for India, it is very important that both nations should
Mm-hmm.
find peace. Both nations should find that their people deserve peaceful economic growth and prosperity
Mm-hmm.
rather than bringing the whole subcontinent down to rubble, where people will be in poverty back, because Western world has been very happy seeing India-Pakistan fight. I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
think
every time,
Western world
every
will
time.
come and bail us out. So I think India and Pakistan must realize that if there is a war between India and Pakistan, the leaders are again going to be the Western world. And they will only be too happy, content selling arms and ammunition to
Selling
Pakistan,
ammunition
making
streams.
rich either in dollars or in euros or in pounds or whatever. So I think one has to be
Absolutely.
very careful, venture into all this.
Indeed, indeed. The words of wisdom, I would say, Lieutenant General here. This brings me to the final question here, Lieutenant General. Uh, when it comes to either posturing or having a locus standi in this global matrix of diplomacy, of international relations, uh, geopolitically, how do you assess the impact of this strike, especially in terms of global diplomacy, maybe deterrence also for Pakistan, and for India's image as a regional power, if I may add?
Actually, a powerful nation
Mhm.
uh, has all the strategies in place of deterrence, and deterrence uh, enables a country to avoid a war. You make yourself so powerful, and no country dare to
Yes,
do
to attack.
anything against you because you have deterrence in place.
Mhm.
India obviously invested in nuclear weaponization program for deterrence, also having offensive capability as strike corps as deterrence,
Mhm.
um, making sure that economically India becomes strong and builds its own industry. But I think India was still a work in progress, or still is work in progress,
Mhm.
to become a power where, by its own comprehensive national power per se, we could avoid a war. I think
Mhm.
the entire statecraft should have worked towards war avoidance through deterrence. And if we have not been able to avoid the war, I think we have to limit war to make sure that we go back to a developing nation, or a nation which should become at least a regional power, which we are, from regional power at least to reckon ourselves to be global powers.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think so. Our neighbors would want India to become anywhere to be seen as a global power. So
Right.
I think it is entirely for India to invest in certain strategies to make sure that we take our country towards peaceful growth, emerge as powerful, invest in technology, invest in economy, invest in industry, become a manufacturing hub.
Mhm.
A lot of movement is and was already happening through the trade wars that India was to get more opportunities. But I think Pakistan has more or less brought India to a point that India should not be allowed to
Mhm.
grow peacefully. So therefore, the war has been brought by Pakistan to our feet.
Right.
But now it is up to our leaders how we go bring back our nation to limit this. Even if we have to fight a war to be peaceful, well, that is one option. To avoid a war and be peaceful is another option. I think
Mhm.
this is entire maneuvering which we expect our mature leadership of two countries, or at least in India, to work out certain solutions.
Indeed, Lieutenant General Pannu, thank you so much for speaking to us and bringing into perspective the dynamics that are changing so thick and fast that keeping focus on the bigger picture at times becomes difficult, at least for the masses. I would say, yes, as far as the leadership is concerned, a lot is expected from both sides, and India, in its all right and might, has been bearing the brunt of this cross-border terrorism and the proxy war, and feeding the terrorists on their soil. Pakistan has been at it for the longest period of time. So this particular move, obviously, had become almost the call of the hour. Thank you so much, Lieutenant General Pannu, for taking time out for One India. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Pankaj. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Same, sir. Thank you.
Subscribe to One India and never miss an update.